Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. Oh, my goodness. I mean, the information is like information overload, information overload. Wow. Wow. It's already begun. And do I need to even say it? It's already begun. I mean, people send me information, and I talk to people who's out in the field, who's just looking at everything, and on the multimedia world. And I talk to people, and they're like sending me information, and they're telling me information, and it's like information overload. Wow, snap! It's coming. Oh snap! Oh snap! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! You know what? I'm sitting there thinking, how do I share this information with you without them coming after me? How do I share this information with you without them getting all worked up? And it should just be, I should be able to freely share this information with you without being penalized for sharing what they're doing, right? I should be able to share whatever it is, what they're doing with you. But they, oh my goodness, people, I don't think I've ever been like so like, I constantly talk about, I see the writing on the wall. You hear me say this all the time. For those of you that tune in, I'm always saying I see the writing on the wall. The writing fell off the wall. I mean, the writing fell off the wall. You don't even have to see it on the wall. It's like you're stepping on it now. And it stinks. It has a stench. It's like the stench coming from the pits of hell. These people, these evil people, they're going for broke. They're going all in. Oh, snap. And they're doing it in our faces. And they're telling us that we have to go along with it. Already, they're telling us that we have to go along with it. Ooh, okay. You know what? I'm gonna share a video with you. I'm gonna share a video with you, but I'm not gonna share it right here on the beginning. I'm gonna share it when the trolls get irritated from listening to me, and they're gonna drop off, right? Because the trolls are the problem. They don't care about the truth. They don't want you to hear the truth. They don't want Will Johnson telling the truth either. They would be perfectly fine if Will Johnson was lying. But let me show you something, because all of this is happening right now. All of this is going down right now. You know, if Elon Musk had not purchased Twitter, the Biden regime would constantly put lies out on Twitter, trying to convince people that they're here for the American people, that they're here for women, that they're here for black people, that they're here for the elderly. Right? So what happened is that because of the inflation that we're experiencing here in the United States of America, it has caused for Social Security checks to be increased. So the Biden regime puts a tweet out there saying, look what Biden has done for you. Biden did this for you. Biden didn't do anything but cause the inflation to go up, which causes your Social Security payments to go up because it's supposed to match up with the current economy, that we're not in a recession, according to them. But Karine Jean-Pierre was asked about that. Why? About the tweet that they put on Twitter saying that Biden did this specifically to help them out in a time of need. Literally lying. Again, the only reason why it went up is because inflation went up. But a news reporter, finally, they're starting to figure it out. There's a few of them getting it. They're starting to get it to ask these questions. They're going to ask her the question, why did the White House delete the tweet? Right? Now, if Elon Musk had not purchased it and they still had these communists on Twitter, the tweet would still be there right now. But they since deleted the tweet because they didn't want the American people to see that they were lying. But she's going to say, oh, it was missing content. It's the same thing the fake fact checkers will do. But guess what? Because Elon Musk and the way he has it set up, and it's starting to get a lot better on Twitter. I'm just telling you right now, it's getting a lot better on Twitter. I post up on Twitter and somebody sees it now. Wow, it's really amazing how that works. but everybody was seeing it and everyone was chiming in, and they deleted the tweet. They censored themselves. The White House did. Listen to this.
The White House removed a tweet that talked about the increase in Social Security benefits in 2023, quote, through President Biden's leadership. There was a contextual note, I'm not sure what the proper terminology is for the platform, that was added to that. Was it removed because of the addition of the note, or was it removed because of the concern about the veracity of the message?
So it was, look, the tweet was not.
Now, I know it's kind of hard to understand the guy. It's the way the microphones are always set up in there. But he asked a question on why did they delete the tweet? Listen to me. Why did the White House delete the tweet when they put the information out there? And listen to what Karine Jean-Pierre has to say about why they deleted the tweet. My question is how many other tweets, I can't even get it out. How many other tweets have they deleted? How many? Probably zero, because they could put out the lie and they knew people would not say anything about it. Listen.
So it was, look, the tweet was not complete. Usually when we put out a tweet, we posted with context, and it did not have that context.
What? Are you kidding me? The tweet actually said that the Biden regime actually helped out the elderly with their Social Security check. Good for Biden. That's what they said. That's the message that they were pushing. It was a total lie. They took it down because people were talking about it and it was going viral. So they took it down. But guess what? People had already seen it. People already chimed in on it. They took it down. They deleted it for that reason. Now, talking about the censorship, right? Now, there's a video, I'm telling y'all right now, there's a particular video that I want to share with you. I'll probably share it maybe after this next one. I'm trying to give it a little time here. Because this is so powerful. This is so impactful. I'm highly concerned, right? I had this feeling before because they don't want you to tell the truth. That's all I want to do is relay information to you. And when I relay the information to you, it's going to be your opinion, okay? It'll be your opinion. I'm going to try not to interject my opinion on it. All I want to do is report on what is being told and what's happening. That's all I want to do. Okay, so for those that are watching that hate me, look, I just want to share the information. I'm not going to tell anyone what they should do, how they should do it, whatever. Okay, I'm not going to do that. But before I get to that, let me get to another one with Karine Jean-Pierre. Listen to this because she's talking about the censorship where the federal government going to these tech companies and wanting to censor the American people. The federal government's doing this. Why aren't there any lawsuits? Can someone please tell me that? Where are the lawsuits at? I know there's millionaires, if not billionaire conservatives that have connections with powerful lawyers that can go in and sue the federal government for doing this to the American people. They're actually doing this. They use the tech companies as a proxy to censor the American people because the tech companies that have these social media platforms have created the virtual public square. Listen to this.
There was reporting in The Intercept about opportunities for the federal government to identify for social media companies different posts that contained what was perceived as misinformation about the origins of COVID, the vaccine, other things as well, such as Ukraine or the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Yeah, look, I'll say this. The administration, the Biden administration remains fully committed to our mission to protect the security and resilience of our elections and safeguard election infrastructure. That includes combating disinformation. That is something that we are committed to. We work to protect that, protect Americans from disinformation that threatens the homeland, including malicious efforts spread by.
So you know what that means? That means, remember when they had the disinformation board and they supposedly dissolved it, made it go away because the American people were screaming about it, saying this is too close to totalitarian. This is too close to communism, 100%, which they, here lately, they've been saying that they're against communism when it comes to people crossing the border. But when it comes to them pushing communism, they're completely with it. This is only exposing them for them been censoring the American people, even when they said the disinformation board was gone. They said it was gone. They're still doing it. We just found out that the lady that was working at Twitter, one of the CEOs, she's been meeting with the Biden regime every single month on different ways that they can go ahead and continue to censor the American people. You can't make it up.
Or adversaries, began before the Disinformation Governance Board was established. In fact, some of that work began before this administration. So, I want to be very clear that cross-agency work continues to this day. Don't want to get ahead of anything else. This is a Department of Homeland Security, so I would refer you to them.
So you are flagging misinformation.
I don't have anything more to add. This is a Department of Homeland Security that I refer to.
You hear this? So she doesn't want to admit to it, but it just came out. Again, the lady in Twitter that got fired, she was meeting with the Biden regime once a month, people, on how to censor the American people. And they've been doing it. They're still doing it to the American people. They're censoring you and I. They're censoring all of us because they don't want you to know the truth. Why not? How come, aren't you an adult? How come you can't make the decision if you want to believe something or not? Hey, there's a UFO right now over my studio. There's a UFO. It's up to you if you want to believe me or not. Right? You don't have to believe me. But guess what? I should be able to share information with you, regardless if you believe it or not. You should be able to share information with me on the platforms in the virtual public square if I believe it or not. It should be entirely your decision. But see, they want to control all of it. They want to control all of it. All right, so let me get to this one where this is huge information, huge story. This is so nerve-wracking to me. And that's why I titled this, Oh Snap. That's why I titled this, Oh Snap. And this was with Tucker. Listen to what Tucker's saying here. Every single person in this nation should be highly concerned. I mean, highly concerned. Listen to what he says.
The conventional view among people who follow politics is that the Democratic Party is about to suffer a humiliating repudiation in next week's midterm elections. It seems very likely as of now that Democrats will lose both houses of Congress, and that's just the beginning of their pain. Polls suggest that even places that supported Joe Biden by a wide margin in 2020 are about to swing dramatically against him and his party. A week from today, New York, of all places, could have a Republican governor. The last time there was an election in New York, Biden won the state by 23 points. What we're seeing is what political scientists refer to as a realignment. And there's no mystery as to why it's happening. Democrats failed conclusively. No group in American history has done a worse job running this country than the neoliberals currently in charge.
Yes, the neoliberals. They have literally destroyed this country. And we're supposed to just accept it. I don't think so.
They're vicious, they're intolerant, and they are utterly corrupt. But above all, they are incompetent. In less than 2 years, it is not an overstatement to say they have run this country into the ground, wrecking our economy, desecrating our military, and opening the borders of the United States to more than 5 million lawbreakers. The destruction they have wrought is so profound it's hard to describe. So of course there will be consequences for that. In a country with democratic elections, how could this party stay in power? Honestly, we don't know.
You know what? That is the magic question, right? That is the magic question. With all of the terrible things that they have done to this nation and all the terrible things that they want to do to this nation, because they have not been hiding what they want to do to us. They have been hiding it. They're out in the open with it. So how could they? How could they? That is the million-dollar question.
But maybe Joe Biden does. Tonight, Biden traveled across the city of Washington to Union Station. Built by Teddy Roosevelt more than 100 years ago, Union Station was for generations one of the most beautiful public buildings in this country. Under Joe Biden, it has become a homeless encampment, a place that is too filthy and too dangerous for Starbucks. Standing at this monument to his own failures, Biden proceeded to do what he now so commonly does, bark at the rest of us for our moral failures. The guy who showered with his daughter is telling you you're a bad person. Tonight's topic, democracy. Here's a taste of it.
Now, this is where it gets really concerning. Listen to what he says. Please, if you're a liberal please get off right now. Just get off. I don't even want you here. Just get. I mean, seriously, just leave. If you're a troll, liberal, you hate America, just please. I'm serious. If you're a troll, just leave. Just leave. If you're conservative, Christian, love America, love freedom, want to protect your children, please share this video right now. Copy the link and share this with other people that you know love the country. This is where it gets really, really interesting.
Yet now, extreme MAGA Republicans aim to question not only the legitimacy of past elections, but elections being held now and into the future. The extreme MAGA element of the Republican Party, which is a minority of that party, as I said earlier, but is its driving force, is trying to succeed where they failed in 2020, to suppress the right of voters and subvert the electoral system itself.
Yeah, you see the expression on Tucker's face? I completely understand. Now, it's your decision. And you know what? I don't think the MAGA supporters have they're suggesting is, minimum, that it's just a small minority. You're sadly mistaken. Biden, you're sadly mistaken, because there's actually Democrats that have changed their party affiliation and became MAGA Republicans.
Well, that's very weird if you think about it. So here we are less than a week before the Democratic Party is expected to suffer overwhelming losses in the midterm elections. And here you have the leader of that party, Joe Biden, commanding you not to complain about the election results. Why is that? Well, let's see. Here's Joe Biden telling you that thanks to the many changes Democrats have made to our system of voting, all of which make voter fraud easier to commit, we may not know the results of the elections for a few days. But don't be alarmed. Everything is completely on the level. And whatever you do not ask questions, or else you're a criminal. Watch.
We want Americans to vote. We want every American's voice to be heard. Now we have to move the process forward. We know that more and more ballots are cast in early voting or by mail in America. And we know that many states don't start counting those ballots till after the polls close on November 8th. That means in some cases we won't know the winner of the election for a few days, until a few days after the election. It takes time to count all legitimate ballots in a legal and orderly manner. It's always been important for citizens in democracy to be informed and engaged. Now it's important for citizens to be patient as well. That's how it's supposed to work.
You know what? What this? Ooh wee. You know what? I'm like at a loss of words right now, because you heard what he just said, right? Now, if I were to read into that, what do you think that he was saying? I'm not gonna voice my opinion about it right now. I'm not gonna voice my opinion on it. What do you think he was saying? What do you think he was telling the American people? What do you think? Will Johnson's not going to give his opinion on it. You tell me.
What is this? What is going on here? We're a week from the election, 6 days. Biden would under normal circumstances have given a speech about his policies and how they've made your life better. He tried to convince you this country is actually in better shape than it looks, and he did that. He could, in other words, have made a pitch for your vote based on what he has done. That's what politicians do in functioning democracies. They try to convince you to support them on the basis of what they have done for you. That is democracy. That's not at all what Joe Biden just did. Instead, Biden commanded you to accept the election results whenever they arrive, no matter what they may be.
Is anybody a little, I'm not going to voice my opinion, because every time I voice my opinion when it comes to topics like that, hey, this is what they're saying. You decide. You're an adult. You decide. You decide, right? You do the decision about all of that. people should be concerned. People should be highly concerned. And they want us to believe that people are going to the polls because of abortion, right? Because of all of the wokeness that they have introduced. That's what they want us to believe people are going to rush to the polls for. Not because of the crime, not because of the inflation, not because we're in a recession. And they're saying 75% of the people believe we're in a recession right now, right? And it's probably even more than that, because no one ever polled me on it. No one ever asked me about it. People are concerned about the millions upon millions of people coming into the country. People are concerned about these things. People are concerned about parents being called domestic terrorists because they simply want to take care of their children. People are concerned about that, right? Not about this wokeism that they've been pushing on all of us. Even here on the Communist News Network, listen to what they say here.
CBS News and YouGov, 65% of you said the issue of crime will be very important to your vote. A separate poll released by Gallup last week finds Americans are more likely now than at any time over the last 5 decades to say there's more crime in their community than there was a year ago. 56% of you say there's more crime where you live now than last year. 56%. And that's a trend that's been building over the last few years since 2020, when Joe Biden was elected.
So when you hear the left constantly saying that there's no crime, the crime is like going down, even the Communist News Network just admitted that the crime is going up. So we have a decision, our civic duty, to do the right thing, to make the right choice for our families and our children.
Crime is a big darn deal.
It used to be elsewhere, but now it's in our own neck of the woods.
We want to move, yes, because of crime. We want out.
We live in an area where there is quite a bit of crime, so we are concerned about that.
So where do you go? Right? Where do you go? Because it used to be the conversation about, well, if they turn the United States of America into a communist nation, where do we go? Where do we flee to? Canada, look what's happening in Canada. And there's awesome people in Canada, but I mean, they have Trudeau. He's a straight up puppet for the globalist system. He's a straight up puppet. He's a straight up puppet for George Soros. He's a straight up puppet for these elitists. We can't go to Mexico because look what they're doing. The drug cartel pretty much controlled Mexico. Have y'all seen what happened in Brazil? Oh my goodness, people. It's like the world, again, like I've constantly said, the world they want this chaos on the planet. They want the chaos on the planet. Now, the left, and I'm trying not to talk about the whole Paul Pelosi. I may have one thing that I may show you, but I want to share something with you, how they're trying to claim and blame MAGA Republicans period, for all of the violence that we see in America, for all of the crime that we see in America, knowing good and well it's not happening, because if it was happening that way, yeah, they would produce a video. Stop mouthing it off and produce proof. At least the American people deserve that. We at least deserve that. If you're going to say this stuff on MSDNC and Communist News Network, at least prove it. Just don't say it. Prove it to all of us. Listen to what they say here.
I think the sickness is so deep within the base of the party, that the MAGA base that follows Donald Trump, the extreme MAGA base. I think the sickness is so deep among them that if somebody criticizes violence the way they should, I think they would be seen, Caddy K, as sellouts.
Okay, so I guess I'm a sellout then. I guess I'm a sellout because remember Antifa, BLM, the Summer of Love? Do you remember that? Does anyone recall that? I mean, it's like not too long ago. Antifa, BLM, the Summer of Love, these leftist communist Democrats destroyed so much. It was $1 billion insurance policy. And I've been repeating that a lot here lately because they want people to believe that it's those on the right that's committing all these crimes, the violence. It's not true. We know it's not true. They're mouthing it off without showing it. And we're just supposed to believe them. And they don't even want us. You can't question it. Oh, no. You can't question what they're saying, because then you're the one going into, the area of the Twilight Zone. They're lying.
That this fascism, let me say that word again if it makes you uncomfortable. Let me say it again. The fascism that started rising in 2015 when Donald Trump started praising violence, when he started telling people of color that were in Congress to go back to where you came from.
What? Go back where you came from? If anything, if people
of color,
if the black people of color go back to where they came from, like he was suggesting President Trump said, that means that black people would go back to their political roots, which is the Republican Party. That's what black people need to go back to, your political roots of the Republican Party. And guess what? There was never a switch. The only thing they switched was their tactics to control black people. That's the only thing that switched.
When he started praising congressmen who beat up reporters for simply asking a question about health care reform, when he said there were good people on both sides in Charlottesville.
There were good people on both sides. I hate to believe that all Democrats were just bad people. There were good people on both sides. Why do they keep saying that? I mean, I get it. They're trying to say that all Republicans are bad. See, they're saying that. They're literally saying that every single Republican that was there in Charlottesville was bad. I know, and I've met a lot of those people that were at Charlottesville. Now, those guys that were walking around with the tiki torches, if you ask me, those were the same guys that's in the Lincoln Project. That's probably the same guys. And the guy that was leading the tiki torches during the Charlottesville, he was a Hillary Clinton supporter. But they keep leaving that tidbit of information out. Why is that? Why is that? Let me talk about here's another one, actually. Here's another one. So Fox News had a town hall, both with the Republican and the Democrat candidate, and they were asking questions, and people were asking questions, and some came from Twitter, some came from the audience. Well, here's one. They're talking about MAGA Republicans. Listen to the response from the Democrat.
And Paul asks, what did Ryan mean about kill and confront when you said this in a statement with regard to MAGA, the movement, is what you said specifically. In today's political climate, shouldn't you apologize and retract that statement, says Paul?
I will say that this extremist movement absolutely needs to be confronted.
He's talking about MAGA Republicans as extremist movement. MAGA Republicans, right? Where MAGA Republicans still have yet to burn down a building. MAGA Republicans have yet to lock police officers in the building or federal agents in the building and try to burn the building down. MAGA Republicans have yet to do that. They have yet to do that. MAGA Republicans have not taken the life of anybody. MAGA Republicans have not done that. They have not. Where's the proof at it? Where's the video? Show it. There hasn't been any. There hasn't been any. And then they always bring up, the last year in January, they always bring that up, trying to use that as an example. But the reason why they went after them? The reason why they went after them because of what the U.S. Constitution says. What does the U.S. Constitution say about a tyrannical government and militia? I'm just asking you. Go read it. I'm not going to say it here because, they'll attack me for reading or quoting what the U.S. Constitution says. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? People have been attacked brutally because they quoted the U.S. Constitution. But see, they don't want people to adhere to the U.S. Constitution. They want to do just the opposite. Okay. I have to share one thing with you, or two things here about Paul Pelosi. And I said his name, Paul Pelosi. I have to share two things with you here. Listen to this first one, because this first one, if you listen to it and if you didn't know what they were talking about, you would think they were talking about the guy that showed up at Brett Kavanaugh's home wanting to tie him up and kill him. Do y'all remember that? They had nothing to say about that. And they still didn't even care if the Supreme Court justices had any security. They didn't want them to have security. They were in favor of people protesting against them and even possibly taking their lives. They had no issues with it. Listen
to these details and charges, and I guess the aftermath here, what this leads to in terms of more protection for elected members of Congress, whether they are high-ranking or not, and perhaps now even their family members who could be targeted, clearly, as we see with Nancy Pelosi's husband.
Right, that's right. So, and just to be clear, I'm just reading the complaint because I don't want to get it wrong. Here is what he had just in his possession: a roll of tape, white rope, a second hammer, a pair of rubber and cloth gloves, and zip ties. Okay, so this is like not like I woke up and decided to be mean to Nancy Pelosi. This was a concerted, this was a planned attack against Nancy Pelosi. And what it means, and so I want to be clear here.
Okay, so how does she know what he was planning? Did she have conversation with him before he did it? Where does he? Where did she get that from? And you notice she said he had a second hammer, right? So I guess he got the first hammer from Paul, and he brought a hammer to the party. And there's so many holes. Again, there's so many holes in this story. There's new information coming out about it every single day. And where is Nancy? Where is Nancy? She is yet to come out and say anything about this. Have y'all seen the video? I haven't seen the video, and I've been looking. I've been aggressively looking for a video of her making a comment about this. I haven't seen anything. Nothing. Except for she did post a video, I think, 12 hours or 22 hours ago, something like that. And she put the date on it. She purposely put the date on it. They put the date on it. She probably just did it and put the date on it saying I think it was October 26th last month. But it was just posted today. I think maybe it was 11 hours ago. Just posted today. Said nothing about her husband. So why is she so quiet? You know why she's quiet? Because she's already told people that she put information out to the media, and then once it come back to her, she'll confirm it. She puts it to them, then she comes back to her and confirm it, even if it's a lie or not.
Nancy Pelosi sits in a very different league than most any other politician in terms of the attacks against her. If you go online to any of these MAGA sites, to Truth Social, it is Nancy Pelosi.
You hear this? These MAGA sites go on Truth Social, right? Listen to this. Listen to how they're trying to depict MAGA Republicans, conservatives, Christians. That's what, because we're all the same. I'm a MAGA Republican. I'm a Christian. I love America. I love who I am, and I love the fact that the people that I come in contact with that love this country, we show equal and the same amount of respect for one another. I love this country. These people want to take my freedoms away. They literally do, because that's what they're doing. That's how I perceive it. Because they're literally lying, trying to convince all of us that MAGA Republicans are bad, they're evil, when, again, they have not produced a shred of evidence where MAGA supporters have gone out and burned up stuff, attacked people, killed people like Antifa and BLM, which they refuse to acknowledge.
She's the new Hillary Clinton, the new AOC, in terms of the attacks, the accusations against her. So in some ways, while there's threats against others, we know this, against other politicians, it is not at all surprising to me that someone would have been radicalized against her specifically, because that's where Truth Social, Donald Trump, that's where they're focused.
You hear this? So she's basically trying to put the signal out there for Apple and Google to remove Truth Social, because they're trying to say that they're inciting violence against sitting members of Congress. That's what she's saying. That's literally what she's saying. That's what I heard. I mean, how else did you try to spin it? That's what she's saying, because nowhere did he have anything with Truth Social. They're trying to make this connection. You know what? You know what I call it? I call it the October surprise. That's what I call it. I call it the October surprise. But they're taking a crisis, what they're doing, like they always do, take a crisis, let no crisis go to waste. They're taking this and they're trying to manipulate the public to get us to believe something else. Where's the proof of it? Where's the proof? All they're doing, again, is they're mouthing it off like mouth breathers, and we're just supposed to believe it. Listen to Jesse Waters as he brings up how the Democrats have been attacking Republicans, but they don't say anything about that. They actually celebrate when Republicans are attacked. Imagine that.
When the Bernie bro who shot Steve Scalise Did you hear any of us blaming Bernie? But the same can't be said for members of the media who celebrated attacks on Republicans, like when Rand Paul got his ribs cracked by his neighbor, and MSNBC gushed about how it was one of their favorite stories.
New details today on the incident that left Senator Rand Paul with 6 broken ribs. This might be one of my favorite stories.
Don't you love when Republican senators' ribs get cracked? It was one of their favorite stories. How come Gavin Newsom didn't say anything about that?
Yeah, or the other Democrats, right? Why are they so silent about that? Because when they do communism or when they do fascism, it's perfectly fine. It's okay for them to do it, for them to act like, neoliberals, right? It's okay when they act neo. It's perfectly fine because they have a just reason to do it. Because they hate MAGA Republicans. They hate conservatives. They hate Christians. If they didn't hate Christians, they wouldn't be trying to remove God out of everything. They hate reality. They hate America. Look, I speak up and I say something because I love my country, people. I really do. I don't want to lose my country. And these demons, they're doing everything they can to destroy it. Why do you think they're so anxious right now? Why do you think they're so nervous about losing the power that they have over the American people? Because people are fed up. People are feeling like I'm feeling. You're feeling the way that I feel. You're disgusted with them. And many people, it took this much for them to actually realize how disgusting they really are. When it comes to our children, when it comes to our economy, when it comes to the energy, when it comes to our border, when it comes to the spending, and it's going to hurt our children, our great-grandchildren, it's going to hurt them. And they're doing this. $31 trillion? What does that even look like on paper? Can you even spend $31 trillion? A lot of people say, I'm pretty sure I can spend $31 trillion. Yeah, right. Try counting 31 trillion. Start it right now and get back with me this time next week and tell me what number you're at. This is ridiculous. It's so bad with the lying that the left is doing. And all I'm doing is sharing information here. They're literally lying. Let me ask you, what did your portfolio look like? What did your 401k look like before Biden? What did the economy look like before Biden? What did the gas prices look like before Biden? What did the grocery store prices look like before Biden? What did our southern border look like before Biden? And Biden have the nerve, the audacity to sit there and say this. Listen.
When I took office, the economy was in ruins.
The economy was in ruins when he took office. Really? Really? Again, I'm asking everybody, what was it like before he stepped into the doors of the White House? What did it look like? And then he has the nerve to try to tell us another lie about what a recession looks like.
That's what I call inflation.
Or inflation.
At the end of the month, what you have left, you have no money. That's inflation. The things you need, are they going up? And they are. They are.
Yeah, things are going up. But inflation is caused by government spending. The government spending money we don't have. Sending money to other nations and we don't have the money, and we're sending it to them. So we have to make a loan from somebody else, like
China.
And then we send the money to them. So what happens when China comes back and asks us for their fair share? Right? We want our money back with interest. It's going to happen. So much is happening right now all across the country, and it's just buzzing everywhere, right? But it's really interesting when you get the Communist News Network to even start acting like I think they're pretending here, like they're a news organization and asking tough questions. Don Sourpuss Lemon, apparently, because his night show got ended, I guess he's coming out and say, you know what, I'm going to ask some of these tough questions. Listen to this.
Why not debate your opponent? If you believe your opponent is, has issues and is spreading conspiracy theories about a stolen election and so on, and is not being truthful with the people of Arizona, why then not get on the debate stage and debate her?
Not only is Carrie Lake, has she centered her entire platform around this election denialism.
Whatever.
I didn't want to give her a bigger stage to do that. But additionally, she has shown that she's not interested in having any kind of substantive conversation.
Really? She doesn't want to have any conversation? Carrie Lake has put out so many invitations. Carrie Lake I never heard her yell at any news reporters. I haven't heard her yell at anybody, talk at anybody in anger. Even when they were directly lying to her face, she still kept her composure. The issue is that Hobbs is terrified of Carrie Lake. Hobbs act like her and Carrie Lake are about to get into a boxing ring and actually physically duke it out. That's how she's acting. She's staying away from her like she's terrified of her. Why? Because Carrie Lake is sharp. She's on point. She knows her stuff. She knows what needs to be done to protect the American people there in Arizona on the southern border. She knows how to get things back in order. She just riding the waves. She just riding the waves. Now listen to this. Listen to this. I'll try not to stop it again. But listen, I'm really surprised that Don Lemon and even the other hosts on CNN was asking these questions of her.
She's only interested in creating a spectacle,
but
and I didn't want to be.
If you were in the same space with her, wouldn't it be easier to knock it down in front of everyone, in front of the most people, because you're not stopping her from spreading whatever you believe that she is spreading by not debating her. She can go on television, she can talk about it, she can go in front of the people of Arizona every single day and talk about it, but you're not confronting her on it. And it seems like it would be an easy fix if you stood up on a debate stage and confronted her about these issues.
Yeah, wouldn't it be an easy thing? If you're standing on truth, if your foundation is standing on truth, it should be 100% easy for you to go on there and lay it out. That's the way it's supposed to work, right? It kind of makes me think about when I would go out, and when I can, or when I have in the past, go out on the man on the street, and I would confront these leftist liberals, and I would have my camera turned on so people can see what's going on. They would always hold a sign in front of my camera. And I would ask them the question, I said, why are you holding the sign in front of my camera? Don't you want the world to see what you're doing here? Because if you're doing something that is truthful and just, and everybody needs to see it, don't you want the entire world to see it? Right? Don't you want that? So if you don't have any truth foundation that you're standing on, you will run just like she is. And they know, everybody knowing it. And think about this. Just imagine all of the leftists that are watching the Communist News Network, CNN, that live in Arizona, and they see her, and they're like wondering, why won't she talk to her? Why won't she get Carrie Lake? Get her! Because she's scared.
Look, we're 6 days out from the election, and our campaign strategy is our campaign strategy. So we're moving forward. I'm continuing to make my case to the voters of Arizona. Whether or not we debated in this race is not going to decide this election. So, we made a decision, didn't want to be a part of her spectacle, and she's not, she won't answer these tough questions to real reporters. She only talks to fake news.
But Secretary, it's not just her that you won't debate. You also.
Yeah, listen to this. She wouldn't even debate another Democrat. So what is the deal?
Did not debate your Democratic primary opponent, Marco Lopez. Why? And have you ever?
I was miles ahead of him. I was miles ahead of him in the race and won handily. It's a totally different situation here.
Well, it's not debating your opponent again. Have you ever debated your opponent running for political office?
Yes, I have.
Why do you think it wasn't important for people to see a debate in this election for governor at all?
Listen how she spins it.
In the primary, I was focused on the general election. I was miles ahead of my opponent. I won handily. It wasn't an issue. We're 6 days from the election, and this is the decision we made. So
she's not miles ahead of Carrie Lake. She's not miles ahead of Carrie Lake. So what's the problem? What's the problem? The problem is She knows she won't be able to handle Carrie Lake. Carrie Lake will hand her on a silver platter with an apple in her mouth. I'm just saying. She will hand her a new one. And we all know it. She would not last. You know what it is? I can see if she in the next 2 days, between now and Friday, because most definitely won't happen Monday. If she just happens to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to go on stage with her, because Carrie Lake is ready any moment. They'll even do it just sit down any moment, right? She wouldn't last for 2 minutes. She'll probably get out and she'll probably go out crying. She probably would go out crying. Not that Carrie Lake would say anything mean to her, yell at her or anything, or even, call her anything, saying you're weak. None of that. She would just answer questions. She would probably get up and go out crying. Just because she's weak. Why would anybody in Arizona select someone weak like that? Don't you want someone who's strong? Don't you want strong leaders? What am I missing here? What am I missing? And we've always had the discussion about voter IDs, and you know how the Democrats are always saying
people of color
are being, suppressed because they have to go get a voter ID. I'm a black male, I have a driver license, so I have a voter ID. I don't have any issues with it. And I think I strongly recommend it because it's something precious, right? This is something that we get to do, and we need to be able to hang on to what we have here in America, right? It's just my opinion. I mean, both left, right, everybody believes it, right? But now there's a problem with people that wanted to change their whole identity. Now they're saying it's probably going to be a problem for them voting. Imagine that.
Good to see you. And as Gen Z gears up to hit the polls, transgender voters are concerned they might be blocked from casting their ballots.
Yeah, that's because a growing number of states are enforcing stricter voter identification laws that disproportionately impact the community.
NBC Out reporter Joe Yerkeba joins us now with more on this. Joe, good morning to you. So first of all, how can voter ID laws create obstacles for transgender people? And where do we see some of the strictest voter ID laws?
Sure, yeah. So voter ID laws disproportionately impact trans people because trans people are more likely to have IDs without the name that they go by and the gender marker that reflects how they present.
You know what? So, like places like California, you can go get your name changed on your driver license. That's not voter suppression. If you go, I'm straight. I'm a straight man. I'm a man. If I wanted to go change my name to something else, I would have to do the paperwork, do the filing, get my driver license changed, do all that, get all that stuff in order before time to vote. And if I don't get it in order, guess whose fault it is? It's not the fault of the state. It's the fault of Will Johnson. It would be my fault for not getting order. So there's no actual voter suppression there. You need to do your part. You need to do your due diligence. You need to, hey, if you know that you want to if you want to participate in your civic duties, then you need to make sure all your ducks are in a row. You can't blame somebody else for not doing what you're supposed to do. But they're saying all these states that have these voter restrictions because your name doesn't match up. How can they verify who you are then? Come on, people.
Come on, man.
How do they verify who you are? If it doesn't match up, they don't match up. You ever play with blocks and the blocks where you take the circle and you try to stick it in the square, or you take the square and try to stick it in a circle? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It won't fit. It doesn't fit. But that's what they're trying to do here. It doesn't work that way.
And recent research shows that just over 200,000 eligible trans voters in 31 states that both conduct their elections mostly in person and require or request ID at the polls don't have IDs that reflect their gender identities and the names they go by. The states that have the strictest voter ID laws are mostly concentrated in the South and Midwest. So Tennessee, Wisconsin, Kansas. So voters there are going to be most.
Come on. It's not their fault. It's not the state's fault that you decided to change your name and not do the proper thing. It has nothing to do with the state. Nothing. There's no voter suppression there because someone's batting for the other team. There's nothing there. Can I share one more thing with you? Because this is on the Communist News Network, and they're talking about 75% of the American people believe that we're in a recession. They're saying, this is the Communist News Network. You know, in the past, when they went to 2 consecutive quarters, it was automatically considered being in a recession. The big tech companies changed the definition on it, so then that way they can come out and say that we're not in a recession. Karine Jean-Pierre was a prime example of that. Listen to what they're saying now.
Is really kind of epic, and it's what's reflected in this poll is reflected in the conversations that I have had in traveling to, I believe it was 5 different states since Labor Day, talking to voters, Democrats, Republicans, independents. They are feeling the economic pain, and they want to hear solutions from their leaders. And that's in some respects. In other respects, they just want to take out their anger on somebody, and the best way to do that is with the greatest thing that we have as Americans, which is our vote.
You hear that? You hear that? And they knew because if President Trump was in office and we hit 2 consecutive quarters, they would have been screaming every single day, we're in a recession, we're in a recession, Trump put us in a recession. You know that they would. There's double standards with these people. 100% double standards. And we're posting, and they want us to just look the other way. Oh, look the other way, look the other way. You know, I talked to my producer and I talked to other people, and people are getting anxiety about what's coming up. Let me say this. No matter what happens, just know that God's plan is bigger than anything that man can do. Okay? So whatever happens, we just need to remember that we need to lean and depend on God in the name of Jesus. That's what we need to do. Okay? No matter what. Don't allow this world, this crazy world, to put pressure on you, to put stress on you. And I know all this stuff I'm telling you, a lot of people go, this is stressful what you're telling me, Will. Can you imagine how much stress Christ went through? What we're going through is nothing compared. And the reason why I relay this information to you is to let you know. Because a lot of people don't have time to go look at stuff. And this is what I do. I spend time and I look at this stuff. I find this stuff and I share it with you. And you make the decision on your own. You're an adult. You're an adult. You get to make the decision on your own. Will Johnson would never, ever try to force you to make a decision along with Will Johnson. I would never do that. Be honest with you, when people have disagreements with me, especially when I go out and I'm talking to people and we're having, disputes, we're having a civil argument, civil debate, I kind of like it, right? Because we're having a conversation. I mean, I like talking to people that's like-minded as well. Don't get me wrong. But I like those debates. But today, in today's world, it's different. It's different debating now. It's either evil or good. That's the position we're in right now. So if you get any anxiety for anything, just call on the name of Jesus. Call on the name of Jesus. And I say this because I remember when I was younger and I was a kid, and I remember I had these horrible nightmares. I mean, nightmares. I was a young kid. I would have these horrible nightmares. I would wake up and sweat because I was having these horrible nightmares. And I told my mom that I was having these horrible nightmares. And she said, when you're having these nightmares, call out in the name of Jesus. Call out. Jesus will send his angels. So ever since then, I've learned when the enemy, the devil, would attack me, because the devil been attacking me ever since I was a young kid. He would do it in my dreams, and every now and then he'll do it now. And I acknowledge it. The devil is constantly at me. Constantly. If he's not at me trying to get at me spiritually, he's using other people to get at me to try to harm me. It's happening so much. But what I'm telling you, call out in the name of Jesus. God is real. God is real. All right, let me say thank you to a couple people before I bounce out of here, if I can. Paula, thank you so much for the stars. Thank you so much, Paula. I really appreciate it. Mary, thank you for the stars. Iris, thank you as well. Tim, thank you. Michelle, thank you. Patty, thank you so much. David, thank you so much. Pamela, thank you so much. Wow. Susie, thank you so much. Linda, thank you. I'm assuming you're from Israel. Thank you so much. Oh, Benjamin Netanyahu. Okay. Chuck, thank you so much for the stars. Chosen, thank you so much. Hector, thank you so much. Uh-oh, Hispanic community, I'm telling you, they're terrified. Janice, thank you so much for the stars. And I think that's it. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Hey, if you find it in your heart, at least share this video. Share the video, no matter how you're watching this. Please share the video. God bless everybody. Reality check.